You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you. Today. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. All that life from generations and from so many places all over the world flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there is electric light. Turn a faucet and there is warm water and cold water. And drinkable water. A gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you. That everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
Love that video. Oh my gosh, doesn't it feel incredible after you watch that? Incredible gratitude. Which leads me to say, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so grateful that you're here to Majestic Mastery, to master your hidden power and Oh my gosh, we are looking so forward to leading and guiding you as we go through this incredible journey of what? Self-discovery, of unfoldment. And actually, that's really a good way to say that, unfoldment. Most people when they think of their lives that it's something that's happening as you're moving through, when really it's about unfolding that perfection that's within you. So with that being said, I want to go over a couple of things, which is first of all, I'm so again happy you're here. I mean, look at all of your amazing smiles. If you can go ahead and wave, that'd be fantastic. It's so good to see you. And then with that, I want to go over some housekeeping things, okay? Because this day is going to be full of a lot of really great information. So make sure that you are plugged in here right now, that you're giving your attention to what's being shared with you. Because this information, okay, it's really great, it's really awesome. But with that being said, if you're not plugged in with the intention to use it, then this event is going to do very little for you. And this points out something that's really, really big. And that is that this information, and you hear me say this time and time again, any information, anything that you read, anything that you hear is nothing more than passive or static information. That's literally just there. See, what gives the information, the knowledge, power is when it's used. It's when it's applied. It's when it's moving throughout your mind. And that right there is a big, magnificent thing to tap into because unfortunately, many of us have formed the habit of just collecting the information. We collect it, we collect it, we go to this call, we go to that call, we go to this book, we go to that book, we go to that event. And then what happens shortly after? Because of the lack of awareness that what we've done is collected the information and that we haven't locked into using it, the results end up going back to being pretty much the same. There's not a change in the outcome. By the way, how many of you relate to that? You have all this knowledge, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I know what to do. Why aren't I doing what I know? See, this is what we want to help you to see. And with this, we're going to have incredible or two amazing guests that are going to be here today. We have Phil Goldfine, Academy Award-winning producer, and also Arndrea Waters King, who is the daughter-in-law of the late Martin Luther King, which is going to be really, really awesome for every single one of you to listen to how they used this information in their lives. So with this being said, I want to go ahead and invite Dolly up here. Here we go. Hi, Dolly. It's so good to see you. All right.
Hi, great to be here.
I mean, look
Uh,
at this. This is a good turnout. It's beautiful. Look at this.
it's yeah, I'm really looking forward to today's webinar. And I call it that, but I also realize what an expansion, airness, as I summon airness energy, uh, what an expansion this will be for each of us. So I'm really, really looking forward as we start to tune in. So yeah, I don't have any housekeeping.
Okay. So let's all start with checking in because this is an important piece to diving into this because here we are at the beginning of this beautiful session, of which there are going to be three sessions, by the way. It's first session, second session, and third session. But with that being said, we're going to do what's called check in. And the way this works is actually quite simple. I'll start with me, basically, and I'm going to say my name, how I feel, and then following that, I'm going to say, and with that, I'm all in. Then Dolly will do that, and then if all of you would start typing that in the comment section too as well, that would be amazing and incredible. So my name is Troy Chadwick. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling powerful, courageous. I'm feeling excited, and with that, I'm all in.
My name is Dolly Alessandra, and I am feeling grounded. I am feeling joyful, so much gratitude, and a feeling of quantum leap. And with that, I'm all in.
Amazing. Now, if all of you can go ahead and type that in the comment sections as well, and then we'll read some of these as they start coming in. See, we're setting the tone for this beautiful journey today. And, again, it's really awesome that you do that. John Corbellini, you're feeling amazing, alive, and grateful. And with that, you're all in. Fantastic. Robert Mendoza, or I'm sorry, Medina, sorry about that. You're feeling inspired, and with that, you're all in. Jody Ray, you're feeling grounded, peaceful, and magical. Ooh, I like that. That's good. And with that, you're all in. Araneth, feeling grateful, grounded, excited, and oh, you guys are moving too fast here. Wait, now it's moving too fast. Oh my gosh, I lost it. Okay, you ready for the quantum leap too as well? Fantastic. You're all in. Tammy feeling calm, centered, inspired, amazing. And Antonia feeling hopeful, feeling excited. Uta feeling open and ready. By the way, you're noticing a theme here. You're noticing the tone that's being set. And by the way, as I'm reading this, isn't it interesting how it's helping to shape that frequency for you as well? Okay, and that's important because here, if you think in terms of this call, it's a beautiful mastermind. And it's a mastermind that will help you immensely, again, as you tap into this. So again, Betty, we got Uma, we got Lillian as well, Jane Rising, happy, grateful, inspired, Ron Allen, amazing, peaceful as well, Jillian, bright and happy. That's a fun one. Energetic and grateful for Reggie. Tom Collins inspired, expectant. Ooh, that's a good one, huh? Expectant. Chris Maverick as well. Oh my gosh, all these. Bob, you got Caroline, you got Ramon. Amazing, incredible. All right, great. So let's get moving. Let's get this party started. How many of you are ready to go? Right? I'm going to put in the hearts here, right? You ready to go? Okay, so let's get moving with where we are with what we're going to do here. Now, to get all of this moving, we've prepared a beautiful meditation for you. This meditation is super, super cool. We both feel like this is like the best one that we've done so far. So with this, I want all of you to go ahead and sit up and make sure you're in a very comfortable place, and when it comes to what we're going to share with you, immerse yourself in the message and experience it within you. Okay, this is so important that you do this, and that you also follow the instructions as we're guiding you on this. And with that being said, are you ready? You guys ready? All right, so let's go ahead and let's dive into this. Go ahead and sit up again. Here we go. And let's move on this. Welcome to this sacred moment of stillness and connection, where we embark on a deep journey to unlock the ancient hidden power within you. This is a power that has always been there, waiting for you to recognize it. Together, we will activate this force, awakening a frequency that aligns you with your highest self. Take a deep breath in, slowly and deeply, feeling the air as it nourishes your body, and then gently exhale, letting go of anything that no longer serves you. With every breath, feel your body relax more and more, releasing any tensions in your shoulders, neck, and jaw. Inhale again, filling your lungs with the pure energy of this moment, and exhale slowly, sinking deeper into the space you are in.
As you continue to breathe deeply, allow yourself to be fully present. Each breath you take draws you closer to your center, your core. Feel a sense of calm wash over you like a soft wave, cleansing your energy and clearing your mind. In ancient times, wise teachers knew that the power within us was limitless. They spoke of the divine spark inside each human being, a spark that has the potential to create worlds. Today, you will connect with that divine spark, your hidden power, and allow it to guide you. As you inhale, visualize a portal appearing in front of you. This portal is made of shimmering light, radiating with the colors of creation: golden, violet, and emerald hues. This portal is your gateway to a higher frequency, a place where the ancient wisdom of the universe flows freely.
This portal calls you. It knows your soul. It knows the dreams you have yet to realize, the power you have yet to fully embrace. Feel the pull, the gentle urging to step forward. The portal is inviting you on a journey, one that will awaken your deepest, most ancient self. With each step forward, your body becomes lighter. You step through the portal and are greeted by the warmth that fills every part of your being. As you move forward, leaving behind the worries of the world, feel your energy rise. Feel the higher vibration of this space lifting you beyond your physical reality. Breathe in this energy now, filling your entire being with it. This is the frequency of creation, of pure potential. You are rising to meet your true self.
As you move further into this sacred space, you find yourself in front of a magnificent golden elevator. This elevator, shimmering with light, is not bound by time or space. It is here to guide you on a journey upwards through realms of higher consciousness, where the wisdom of the ancients still flows. Step inside the elevator now. The doors close gently behind you, and as you look around, you notice ancient symbols etched into the walls. Symbols that carry the knowledge of those who came before us. The teachings of the great sages, philosophers, and mystics. You press the button labeled Ascend. Feel the gentle movement as the elevator begins to rise. With each floor you pass, you are lifted higher, beyond the limitations of the physical world, beyond the boundaries of your current thoughts. Breathe deeply, and as you exhale, feel yourself ascending into a space where all possibilities exist.
As the elevator continues to rise, you feel a powerful light growing stronger within you. This is the light of your hidden power, the same power that ancient masters spoke of. The Egyptians knew this power, the Mayans revered it, the yogis of ancient India practiced activating it every day, and now this ancient wisdom is awakening within you. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, feel this power expand. It is limitless, boundless. You have access to this energy right now. Breathe in deeply, feeling the energy flow through your body, from your toes to the crown of your head, lighting up every cell.
The elevator stops for a moment, and you feel the energy of the universe flowing through you. As you stand here, suspended between worlds, affirm to yourself, I am connected to the wisdom of the ancients. I carry within me the knowledge of the universe. I activate my hidden power now. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, feel the truth of those words. The ancient teachers knew that the mind was a tool for creation, and that you are not separate from the divine energy that shapes reality. As the elevator begins to move again, you ascend even higher. The frequency here is so high, so clear. You are vibrating at a new level beyond the ordinary world. With each breath, you are opening up to the full power of your mind, the creative force within you.
The elevator comes to a stop. The doors open, and you step out into a vast open space filled with light. This is the realm of pure potential, where your highest self resides. Here, there are no limits, only possibilities. The ancients called this the seat of creation, the place where all things are born from thought. Feel your feet firmly planted on the ground in this elevated space. With every breath, draw in the energy of the universe, the wisdom of the ancients, the power of creation itself. This is your true nature. You are a creator. You are infinite.
Here in this sacred space, you realize that you are not separate from the power of the cosmos. The same energy that moves the stars, that grows the trees, that flows in the rivers, flows within you. You are part of it, and it is a part of you. As you breathe in deeply, feel the ancient wisdom settling into your being. You are awakening to your true self, your highest self. Affirm to yourself, I am a powerful creator. I am one with the energy of the universe. I activate my full potential now. Breathe this truth into your heart. Feel your heart expand with every inhale, growing brighter and stronger with every breath. You are aligning with the ancient wisdom that has always been within you.
As you stand in this elevated space, you realize that your mind is key. The great mystics taught that thoughts create reality, and now you see how true that is. Your mind is your most powerful tool, capable of shaping worlds, capable of transforming your life. With every breath, feel the power of your mind. See yourself creating, manifesting, and designing the life you desire. Breathe deeply as you exhale. Let go of any lingering doubts or fears. You are powerful beyond measure. The ancient sages taught that as within, so without. What you believe, you create. And now you are choosing to believe in your own limitless potential.
Affirm to yourself once more, I am powerful. I am limitless. I create my reality with ease and grace. Let these words sink into every part of you. from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Feel the energy of these affirmations filling you with strength, with clarity, and purpose. You are in harmony with the universe, and the universe responds to your every thought, your every intention. As you stand here in this elevated realm, know that you are the creator of your reality. The ancient wisdom has always known this, and now you are fully aligned with that truth.
It's time to return, but this time you return empowered, enlightened, and aware of the vastness of your own potential. The elevator appears once again, ready to bring you back to the present world. But now, you descend with the full knowledge of your creative power. Step back into the elevator. As you begin your descent, feel the energy of the higher realms still within you. You are bringing this frequency with you, grounded in your being, vibrating in every cell of your body. Breathe deeply, feeling this frequency settle into you. Each floor you pass brings you closer to the present, but your vibration remains elevated, your mind clear and powerful.
The elevator gently stops. The doors open, and you step out, back into your present reality, but forever changed. You carry with you the wisdom of the ancients, the power of your mind, the light of your hidden power. Breathe in deeply once more, and as you exhale, feel grounded, centered, and fully connected to your limitless potential. Wiggle your fingers, feel your toes, and know that this power is always within you, ready to be activated at any moment. Take a final deep breath, and when you're ready, gently open your eyes. You are powerful, you are limitless, and this journey of creation has only just begun.
How do you feel? Wasn't that great? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Here, I'm going to pull someone up here a second here. Betty, how do you feel?
I feel so relaxed. I feel so calm.
Uh,
I feel like the world is a beautiful place.
mm,
And I'm grateful to be a part of this beautiful place.
amazing.
I'm so happy that I'm tearing up because it's just such a wonderful feeling. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Let's go with one more. Jody.
I absolutely love connecting into the energy of the universe and just feeling grounded and at one with everything. And it's just, for me, it's just magical to plug in. So thank you. It was a beautiful meditation.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's awesome that you shared that. Incredible. See, the whole purpose of all of that, by the way, was to again help you to see that you have this power in you, right? As within, so without. That's the whole premise of, matter of fact, this whole entire call today. And when you get that, when you understand that literally like all your problems are mental in nature, which means the solutions are mental nature, that you can find your answers by going within, oh my gosh, everything changes. And it changes magnificently to the point of where things literally just bounce off of you. By the way, I just noticed a fun little comment here from Araneth. She said it was too short. That's so cool. Oh, thank you. That's amazing. Incredible. All right, so let's start diving into this, okay? Because again, this here is all about transformation. It's about you tapping into that hidden power that you have inside. But before we dive into that, I'd like to again think about um, what is it you're going to act on as you're going through this, because you need to have an intention as you are locking into this. So before I go into like into the teaching with what we're going to go into before we get to Phil, I'd like to add Dolly up here for any other insights that she had as she was going through that meditation.
Sure. Yeah, for me, as we ascend, as I feel already we have, that meditation for me, and what we'll actually be doing while we're on this call will be, as I said, I'm feeling very much as if we're going in speed. I used a different word instead, quantum leap. That is something that I bought into 7 years ago. And for many of you, as I see familiar faces here, as I've been and have had the honor to be behind the scenes in watching what you have grown through. And I realized that what allowed me to move in the speed that I have has been to be able to be in those intimate moments with so many of you. And this is very emotional because it's, prior to a webinar, there's a lot of feelings as a human that you go through, right? And then right before, and like as you're going into stepping into taking action, if you will, the implementation, the application, that's where it's like it brings so much emotion inside of me because you don't get it until you do it. You're not going to feel it until you do because you can't heal it without feeling it. So you do it even when you don't want to, or you think you don't, because you're scared, there's fear, there's all kinds of shit that's happening in your world. And that moment that you get is I summon and channel. This is so, so amazing for me. And I know it's so amazing for Troy because of our story with our guest speakers today. I summon Arndrea Waters King all the time. And this brings a lot of tears for me. Because I know how much work we all do, right? To have faith in the unseen, to go through what we do. And then we summon this energy. You heard me earlier say, Araneth. I travel there. I go there so fast. I can go instantly to the moment. I should bring tissue. I'm just so honored because more and more has been revealed to me and why I've been able to have this calmness I didn't have before. You guys know my story, some of you, and if you don't, you'll get to know it when I share a little bit more in depth of it. How afraid of the world I was and how I would do things because of that, living from the outside in, and how liberating it is when you don't have to do that as much as you did before. And I say that because the growth continues and you feel it and you heal it as you grow through it. So I want to say to each of you that are here live, that are watching the recording, you've come into harmony with us. And I like that feeling of speed, if you will. No such thing as time. It's another webinar. But for just the sake of storytelling here, I wanted to move fast. I wanted to go fast. I wanted to experience. I love roller coasters. I love the thrill. I love horror movies, right, Maverick? Being able to summon those that work, that do the work for God. Who does Rex say? We work for God. No, how does he say it?
Yeah,
Um,
we work for God. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, that feels cool.
Yeah.
The work doesn't end. And so for here, as you all are listening to our stories today, because they're so personal, I got to see Troy behind the scenes and wanting to work with Phil. I watched Phil back in 2017 um, at the Paradigm Shift. I was about to go to the Matrix. You guys will hear that later. And I was watching him on like a thing like this. Was when it wasn't popular at all. When you were watching webinars, these were when you were actually physically going to seminars. It wasn't that long ago. It's 2017. How fast we've moved, huh? Isn't that interesting? And watching Phil on stage and then actually going physically to LA and then seeing him walk up on stage too and, win all these awards or not, he had won all these awards and hearing Bob say that he was his best student. Um, and then again, being behind the scenes with Troy and watching him as all of us, each of us like me, writing out every day what it was that we dreamed, and then watching it manifest. And then once again, realizing all we have to do is show up. That's it. Because the universe does not respond, right, to what you want, it responds to who you are. And so, as you all drop more and more into your heart today, because this is what storytelling will do, you guys are going to hear a lot of emotional stories, true stories. What does that do? For me, it moves in speed. Because when you're facing your reality, the challenges, I hear my dad, faced reality, you're in your dream world. It's more for fun. He just plays a wonderful character. You guys, each of you would love my dad. Um, it's how in which you face it. It's your response time to it. Because for each time you react to it, you are back into the old conditioning, drawing more of what you don't want. You guys know that. And so when you have stories of others, and for me, it was again being behind the scenes. I have seen so many people manifest their dreams, being in debts of millions. Really, I can see all the faces, and going through these roller coasters. And if you can't handle the pressure, you're not ready. That's why you have to feel it to heal it. That's why when you're listening to true stories, those that not just talk the talk, because you're going to feel it. They're not in alignment. Eventually, your intuition will feel it. But for those that do walk it, you will feel also in the bravery of what they did. And that's what I've had the honor to be a part of in the last 7 years from the beginning when I decided to meet with Bob Proctor. So with that, that was my opening. I should probably get a tissue. So I just want to encourage him.
You need to keep going. You're doing great.
Yeah. Thank you. I just want to encourage everyone as you're listening to each of our stories, drop into your heart. I hear a Raj, which is another manifestation, a beautiful chapter of my life than where I got to work with him, where it's not to impress you. It is absolutely to impress upon you. And when you can tune into that energy, there's a transference. That is priceless. That is not something money can buy, because when you're faced to those challenges, you will summon those stories. That's what I do. And if you borrow my belief and if you just kind of buy into what I do and just kind of lean into my fantasy world, because I realize I co-create my entire reality, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And once again, the more you are willing to apply it, face your fears, as Arndrea King always reminds me too, through her channeling, right, through her powerful summoning, there's going to be things that are revealed to you. But you have to be ready. You have to have done the work. Otherwise, you will have missed it. Somebody will tell you, do this, do that, literally giving you the roadmap to exactly what you say you want, and you'll miss it because you're judging, you're not in alignment. So everything we impress upon you today is to transfer energy to you, to elevate you to a higher frequency, if you will. Nobody is above anyone else, right? Just all perspective. However, it will expand your vision. It will allow you to feel, which is the secret, feeling being the secret, which is something you cannot buy, which is your experiences. You'll be able to face more dragons, better levels, more beautiful places. It gets more magical. So welcome. You're at your next level.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this. Okay, here we go. Continue. It's so good.
Hey, what'd you do?
I put you back on the stage solo because it was so good. Oh my God.
Well, thank you. I don't know what to do.
All
No,
right.
well, I think from here,
Mhm.
we're going into personal stories, or into teaching. What
Yeah.
did you say that we were going
Yeah,
into?
there's some things that we're going to talk about. You know what's really cool? You said something about time, and I remember we were studying a little while ago, and something came up about time because a lot of us think, for instance, like this, right? You have the same 24 hours that so and so has, right? And we think in terms of that when it comes to that because of the human thinking that we have. But then what was interesting is what was said was we actually don't have the same 24 hours. And that when people lock in, and by the way, you're going to find this with yourself. When you lock into something and become one with the idea, time actually slows down and you get a lot done in a very short period of time. And that to me, remember when we were talking about that and we were going, oh my gosh, that's so true. When you lock into it, you lose all sense of time and a lot happens, a lot of accomplishment happens, and next thing you know is go, wow. Now you think that it moves, that the time's moving fast, when really what's happening is the illusion disappears. And this is a really big thing because you'll find that, the people, for instance, who do a lot of really great, exceptional things, and because we accept that they have the same time that we do, what we don't understand is that they're able to do that because of how focused they are. And this is a really, really big thing because it's something that's helped me a lot, and especially like when it comes down to the stuff that we've been doing as well. It's when you're not focused that time goes like this, right? And you go like, oh my gosh, what I didn't get anything done. But when you're locked into it, it condenses time and makes things happen so much faster.
Oh, it so
Sometimes
does, because you're on the frequency of receiving the messages from there.
that's right.
You know, even the name of our webinar, I have to say to Andrea's DNA is one. I I had the honor to go to what I would say is a dream home of mine, and spend a weekend with her and her family. And again, that story will come later. I just wanted to say though, the majestic mastery, that energy, again, you will find the right people, and you'll hear that more in my personal story when we travel there, about how when you're willing, to step out and do the things you fear, no matter what it looks like, that's the game.
Yeah.
You don't pay attention to what it looks like on the outside. Use your imagination instead. That's
Mhm.
and when you've got others, surround yourself with dreamers. Another quote of Andrea's, right? There's an energy that you can bring and summon. Bring in your 10,000. Again, Maya Angelou. I'm emphasizing this to each of you because this is something that I wanted to strengthen, because Bob Proctor, I knew it when I met him. I didn't meet him yet. Actually, I did, but I hadn't in the physical, but his energy. I knew that I was like, he's a Merlin.
That's so
Right?
funny.
You did too, right? Like in your own way. Oh, and I'm gonna send a photo to Troy for him to share with each of you, like, or maybe, like when we were students at Hogwarts.
Mhm. We're
Like,
still at Hogwarts.
well, now we're
We're
creating
just in
it.
a different room.
Yes, we're expanding it. Like Bob would say, like, do it better. Everyone can do it better. Like each of us can today. You look
Mhm.
and come and see what we're doing, and that gives you a peep. Like, imagine, if you will, you're going to hear stories in this room live, this inner circle, right? Imagine Neville Goddard, back before of Napoleon Hill, like, the secret rooms of Robert Collier, like all these guys that were teaching in the dungeons. That's us. Like, and imagine, like, we have this ability now, like, oh,
Yeah.
this like magic we can you know, like like we can get to so much faster than we did before.
Mhm.
We're moving in speed. I'm like, of
Yeah.
course we are, because I manifested it.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so, you said something. All of you write this down, okay? This is important. I can do better. And that's a big deal because sometimes we forget that we can, not that we don't know it intellectually, but because we're feeling that we can't do better. The point of the matter is you can. And here's another thing that is another wonderful thing for you to write as well, is that there's always a better way. There is always a better, and guess what? There's a better way than that, and a better way than that, and a better way than that, all of which happens when? In the present moment.
Mm.
Okay, it's happening now. This is really cool because what you were talking about, Dolly, really, I'm getting so much from what you just shared. And it's tied into how you're going to think now. There's a theme that you're going to hear. There's actually several themes that are all tied together. And one of those major things is you're either a slave to your imaginings or a master of your imagination. Okay. Now, keep in mind that that is a really important thing because whichever one it is going to determine the direction that you go and it's going to determine what's going to come to you. Now, let's think about this for just a moment. Okay, you're either a slave to your imaginings, which means that the paradigm is running it, coming up with these images. And remember, if that happens again and again in your mind, okay, that's the world that you live in. That's you're going to see everything that's in harmony with that, or you're a master of your imagination. Now, it's through being a master of your imagination that you're able to change your future. And this is who is it that said this, Dolly, when we were talking about this? I don't remember who it was. I don't know if you brought it up or I brought it up, but it was pointed out how your imagination is the only weapon you have to combat what's happening, to combat your past. It's the only weapon you have for you to change what's happening in your life the way that you would love it to be, and for you to see what you have not been seeing. And that right there is huge. And that's what led to, for instance, this call that's happening right now. It had to be imagined first. Yesterday, oh my gosh, I was just at Paramount Studios yesterday over there with Phil. How there was an image that was held there and it was really cool. And, we're going to talk about that later when Phil gets in here. Um, but I want you to think about this. It all starts in the mind. 100% of it. It starts in the mind. Mind is creative. And Bob Proctor would say this all the time. It all starts there. It's in your mind. If you can hold it in your mind, you could hold it in your hand. And where is that happening? It's happening inside. Now let's go back to what Dolly referred to. And, I can always do better. When you're thinking about you can do better. What is happening in your mind when you are thinking that? See, you're imagining it. And the best part is if you see yourself doing better and if you hold that image and if you're loyal to it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to do better. You're going to do better. Why? Because that's that's the idea that you're consenting to. And to me, it's so funny, like throughout everything that we're talking about, this could just be the only thing that we talk about. And if all of you were just to live with that in your mind and think that way, you would see drastic changes in your life. Keep in mind, though, those drastic changes would only be something that took place in your outer world if you made the drastic changes where first? Inside. Inside. Okay. So this is really cool, and I love that you shared how you got teary-eyed when you were talking about Arndrea Waters King, and then all this stuff that happened as well. And that happened with me as well. The first time that I actually went over to meet Phil, and I cried like a little baby when I went to the studio. So he goes, "Why are you crying like a baby?" Oh, it's because, it was hard to deal with. See, it was a struggle. But see, this ties into other things that we also share with you as well. Remember, when you struggle, it's because your conditioning doesn't recognize what's happening. It doesn't recognize the conclusion. But now it's different because here, that was several years ago. Here, yesterday, going to Paramount is like, course. It was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. This is really great. And it's wonderful and magnificent. All right, so where should we go from here, Dolly? You want me to go ahead and start diving into this? Because this is really fun as we're
Well,
leading into this.
well, first of all, I don't think anyone realizes that Troy has not updated me on how his trip was yesterday. So as he's talking, I'm like, all right, keep going. I want to know too, like what happened. Because there's so I was actually looking forward to it. One thing I will say about what you said about I don't know who came up with or where we got the imagination is your greatest weapon against reality. I'm so glad whoever downloaded it though and said it, because yeah, I think that was not think it was one of the greatest news that I had received on this journey. Because that is crazy thinking to think that you can like all I can think of is the old conditioning and programming I had before about what do you mean you're going to use your imagination? Like where the hell are you going?
Are you nuts? What are you
Are
talking
you
about?
yeah, get your ass back in, like right, ground your ass back in here. That's what I thought that all that meant.
Yeah.
The good news isn't the greatest news. Oh, I have a great imagination. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty cool to have that superpower.
Yeah. This brings up something very important. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's so many wonderful things that are coming into this. Okay, so think about that. Think about what you just said, Ollie. Um, and I was told the same thing. What do you mean you're going to use your imagination? Where did that, I guess you'd say, pattern come from? And this is something I want all of you to grab onto because every one of us here has been conditioned not to use our imagination, not realizing that imagination is the starting point of all creation. See, in school, you're taught this. Yeah, actually, you're not taught. You're conditioned to be like this. Pay attention. Pay attention. Stop going out there. Stop dreaming. Get back here. Get back to work. Do your work. Memorize. Stop dreaming. And I want you to notice how that's said again and again and again and again and again. See, when you said that, Dolly, I was going, wow, because that's something that was said to me as well before. Like, what do you mean you're going to do that? What do you mean that's crazy? Yeah, like, sure, like you're just going to dream it up. And then, but when you look at it, though, when you look at it, and especially if you engage with the exercise that we've been instructing you to do 2 to 3 times a day, where you just spend about 3 to 5 minutes just looking at the physical things from the perspective that they were in someone's mind first before they became the material thing, you will realize that everything is from imagination.
Oh,
You'll,
can we take it another level?
yeah,
I
please.
want to take it another level because you
Okay.
guys are all on another level. Okay, that's so awesome that they created all of this, right? Okay, that's great. Next level to that is how about they created it for you,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
right? You manifested that because it collapsed time for you. When I think of
Mhm.
ChatGPT or the different, like different ways in which that we can collapse our time because of certain things that were created for us, our phones that gives us and allows us to videotape the way we do, the Zoom. Wait a minute, who did that?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Oh my gosh. Write this in your notes, everybody. It was done for me.
That's so cool.
That is so true. I have to sit in that for a moment because you completely took it up like not one notch, you took it up actually 10, 20 notches.
But can you imagine the
Yeah.
gratitude when you're
Yeah.
thinking, when you're operating from that level of awareness,
Hmm.
when you realize that everything is happening for you, it doesn't matter what it is, because no matter what, like, one of the exercises that I got from one of my mentors recently was I want you to write down 10 things every day you're grateful for, but then not just 10 like every day. It was 10 one day, day two, 20, day three, 30, day three, 4, 40. You cannot name the same thing. Day 5, 50. And this is, and the greatest thing about it though is what is it that you're training this vessel, this machine, this portal? What are you training it to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're unfuckable. Unfuckable. How did they say that? It's you can't mess with
You
me.
can't mess with me. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's
That is so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, it's magnificent. So these trainings
Yeah.
that we've been doing since when I think of 7 years ago, and Bob Proctor giving me, I mean, he literally handed it to me. That's really what my imagination said he did. Now, it might have been from a YouTube video, but that's how imaginative my mind really was. Like I was
Mhm.
making up shit. I had to
Mhm.
because it was so intense
Yeah.
in reality of the simulation. I
Mhm.
thought the simulation was so real. I was so attached to that simulation. However, not realizing that I could shift the program and go to a different one.
Mm.
And I moved in speed. Why? Because I believed I did. Because I made up stories that I could hook onto. I created characters that I could relate to. And
Mm.
I've used my intuition like I did when I was a kid. And I thought being an empath was bad. I was told I was a people pleaser, and then I turned those things off and I was trying to be colder. I was like, okay, I won't please people then. I'm tough. And then and then I didn't realize I was turning off the light inside.
Mm.
And then I couldn't see the beauty in others anymore. Beauty, another exercise I did with Arndrea King. How many days did we do that? Every day for 30 days, even more. We've extended that. I've shared that with some of you, and
Mm.
we're actually going to share it with all of you in honor of it working through each of us. If you believe what I'm saying to you, even if it's just a little bit, maybe not the picture of it because it will be so unique to you, but just borrowing my belief and feeling into it, which is again the secret, you will create your own fantasy. The colors are going to be unique to you. Doesn't matter what people try to do. That's why, again, the practice of it doesn't mean though you won't forget, because you will. That's why surrounding yourself with dreamers. What did Bob Proctor always say when he would quote Martin Luther King? He would always say, he didn't say he had a plan.
Yeah.
He said
I
he
have a
had a
plan.
dream. Yeah. Right? Like you have to dream it because your plans will change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have expectations as humans. Like we expect certain things to be a certain way. We decide that it should be. That's where you are learning to let go. This is where you summon the energy of others. Because I will tell you now, because Troy and and I speak, for me in my unique journey, and then being able to see Troy's from behind the scenes, right? And that has, again, been such an honor because when it shows how much work is really done, if you will, how much people are, and I don't mean just Troy, I mean even me, all the leaders that I choose to follow. We all have paradigms. Like, remember, Troy, we always joke around. We're like, I thought you had your shit together. I thought you had your shit together. We're like,
Oh my
none of us
God.
had our
Yeah.
shit together.
It's like going, oh, you have no idea. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah. And
yeah.
then,
A lot of people say that. They think like, oh, you just have it so together. You just never seem to like get mad, get angry, and go, oh my gosh, you have no idea about the battle that happens within me as well. It's so important for you guys to get that we have paradigms just like you do. That is such a huge thing to get. We're always moving. And by the way, this ties into what I was talking about earlier here. If you think in terms of our life, your life, my life, it's about unfolding, right? It's an unfoldment. It's a revelation of the perfection that's already in you. See, your job throughout this life is to get rid of all of the ignorance that's been painted over this masterpiece called you. I'm so grateful that Robert Collier painted it that way. But really, it's that unfoldment. And why I'm sharing this with you is because, we have those same issues ourselves. Now, they may not be the same situations that you might be going through, but I got news for you. Again, we go through the struggle because we're working to shift our conditioning too, which leads me to that beautiful statement that we learned from one of our beautiful mentors that we went to go see, Bruce Lipton, where he talks about struggle versus ease. And wasn't that a beautiful gem when we heard that? Right, the reason why things are easy for you is because your conditioning recognizes your conclusion, your paradigm. And the reason why you struggle is for the same freaking reason. Okay, it's because the conditioning does not recognize the conclusion. And now, again, why is that important for us to share that with you? Is because we are going through the changes ourselves. And that's a really, really big thing to really get. my gosh, so good. All right, so guess who just showed up here?
Oh yeah, you could feel it. You didn't
You
even
can
have
feel
to
it. It
see
goes
it. Yeah.
whoosh. All right.
Thanks.
All right. So let's go with this. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Oh my gosh, incredible. Look what I ended up getting, one of these mugs.
Oh, you went to the store after?
I went and got a mug. I got a Paramount
Don't
mug.
they have great merchandise there?
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. And I got an incredible Paramount drinking cup too. These are way better than ones at Universal. Oh my God.
Right?
Hmm.
Cheaper.
Way, way better.
Not that I'm pushing one studio against another. I'm not.
So anyways, so awesome that you're here, Phil. We've been talking about you behind your back,
Cool.
in lots of really great ways. So
Yeah,
everybody
whatever.
say hi to Phil real quick. Everybody wave hi,
Hi.
which is fantastic. So anyways, you want to start, you want to get into it?
Sure. Let's get right into it.
Okay.
Manifestation, right?
Yeah.
Is
And
that
so
what we're all talking about here?
yeah, we're talking about manifestation. We're talking about stuff that we go through. I want to show you something, Phil, and you've seen this before.
Okay.
And one of the things that we're diving into is how things happen. Okay. And it's so cool because you were talking about you there over at Paramount, but I want to show you this because I think you're going to get a big kick out of this. It's actually quite funny.
Cool.
Yeah, let me pull it up here so you can see it here real quick. Where is it? It is, okay, here we go. Ready? Okay. Look at that.
What does that do?
That's 2018.
Wow.
That's the first time I met you
That's really crazy.
at Paradigm Shift. You were walking and I said something to you and I said, can I get a picture? And that's when I had darker hair, right? You still have darker hair. So what's up?
Your hair is really dark there.
Yeah, I know, huh?
I don't
Smiled
remember.
there.
I
And
know you as you are.
but there's that one. And then here's this other fun one here too as well.
I remember that one.
Yeah, 2019. And
With Bob.
yeah, that's what was Bob. And it was so fun thinking about this because as I'm thinking about you and look, you're here right now. I just thought it was a wonderful thing to share because you've definitely inspired me tremendously with a lot of stuff. So anyways, let's talk about you and more about your story.
Well, really, it's more about you. But I mean, are most people familiar with Bob?
Oh yeah, almost everyone here.
Okay, good.
Maybe Bob Proctor, yes.
So I started studying with Bob in 1999. Oh my God, right before the millennium. No, maybe it's even earlier. Anyway, I did not believe any of it. I thought that, okay, this guy's a super nice guy, but like he's out of his mind, crazy. There's no way that you can win an Academy Award. I mean, he doesn't even know anything about the film business. And what I came to learn, I'm still learning, and you just have to do this and study every day, is that it really comes down to what you want. And that's really what life's about, right? What you want, and then you get it. And most of us have these paradigms that Chad, you and I were talking about yesterday. Chad, why do I always do that? Because I always call you by your
Because
last
it's easy, because a lot of people have
Oh.
names Chad. It's okay, I know who you mean.
Troy Chad. Anyway, so our paradigms are always getting in the way, right? Like always. Every day you have your paradigms, whether you're working on them or whether you're not. If you're working on them, it's way better, obviously, because over time it gets quieter and quieter, if you will, as opposed to if you're not working on them, then you are completely driven by your paradigms. Every decision you make is your paradigm. And believe me, your paradigm doesn't want you to get what you really want. What it wants is to remain comfortable. And a lot of people, and this was really hard for me to understand, a lot of people, it's comfortable to be uncomfortable and have all these hardships because that's what the paradigm is used to. And we get that from childhood, right? And so we're still living our 7-year-old self in our 40-year-old body. And it's just really screwed up because when you do that, you just aren't going to get what you want. And Troy and I were talking about this yesterday, where most people are governed by their paradigms, like all the time. And so the few that aren't are probably the people that you're reading about in the newspaper, online, seeing seminars about, because they've learned how to control it, right? So they master it. And what Bob had always told me, and this was really hard for me also, you know, I had a lot of hard things to understand with Bob, and I still do. But one of the things was that I really, honest to God, thought that the paradigm would go away after you took the paradigm, you know, class he had, when you write 90 days with your left hand instead of your right hand if you're right-handed. And it's not that it ever goes away because it's part of your DNA, as he explained, but it just gets a lot quieter, and you're much more apt to do the things that you really want. And you know, it's so simple, it's just not easy, right? Because our minds are trained to accept what we don't want. And I never understood that. Napoleon Hill talked a little bit about that. By the way, Troy, you blew me away yesterday with Napoleon Hill with what you said. But what Troy said was that, you know, Troy is getting so advanced. He's way advanced than I am, that he doesn't need Napoleon Hill as much anymore. He's moved on. Have you read, by the way, all of you or anybody read the lectures at Edinburgh? I
Oh,
believe
Thomas Troward. Yeah,
yeah.
we go over some of that in here, and we do that with our deeper study with the people that we coach and mentor. But yeah, we do go
It
over it.
is the hardest thing
Yeah.
to really understand, isn't it? I mean, the first time I thought it was just like, you know, I thought, what the hell? It's like this is even worse than like, you know, seventh grade science class. Yeah, I don't understand a thing that's going on, or like organic chemistry. But as you keep reading it over time,
Yeah.
you start to understand it more and more. And if you could just study that for the rest of your life, you would be better than pretty much Elon Musk and anybody else that we can talk about.
And that's what Bob would give you to study, huh? When you first started.
That's the first thing he gave me to study, and I'm thinking, what the heck? I mean, let me tell you, I'm the only guy that got an F in organic chemistry, which led to my demise of my organic chemistry major. But hey, that's another story.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Oh, by the way, there's a book that's headed to you. It's going to be to you tomorrow on Charles Linnell that I told you about yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Have
Yeah.
you shared that with everybody yet? Or
Well, not the little tidbits about it, but
wait
I'm just
till
letting you know that it's
Troy
on its
tells you about this book. It's pretty amazing.
yeah, it's pretty
He'll tell
awesome.
you about it.
So let's
So
talk.
anyway, that's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about, you know, how you got to where you are, you know, and especially when it comes down to when you started to dive into studying from Bob, how you discovered that that's how you got there. I'd love to hear. I love the story that you tell, by the way, about I think you were talking about Alfred Hitchcock in the very beginning when you were young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd always known that I wanted to be somehow involved in the entertainment industry, just like most kids. I mean, you know, they want to be an actor first because they have no idea what it means. And so, you know, you see yourself, you see television, and maybe you see a kid on TV and you think, man, I want to do that because it's everything, right? I mean, it's fame, fortune. They've got life so perfect. And of course, we've all come to see what happens with those kids if they don't have that. But so I had always wanted that, and what I wasn't really getting it when I met Bob. I was in the entertainment industry, but like kind of on the fringe, not earning a lot of money. I think I lied to Bob and told him that I was making way more than I thought, just because I was embarrassed by how little I was making. And so he said, "Look, all you have to do is tell me what you want, and I'll show you how to get it." And it really is that simple, right? I mean, that's really all it is. None of us really need any of this, right? All we need to do is to know that, figure out what it is that you want, and then just get into the vibration of having it already, and it's already there. It must be attracted to you. However, none of us are really capable of doing that by ourselves, are we? Because I find that it's got to be study. Study is everything, right? I mean, you have to study every single day. What Bob had always told me is that you can go down as fast as you can go up. So if you're studying, you're hopefully going up, right? And you're going up and up and up. The second that you stop, and I've noticed this, you guys, I mean, like if I don't study for maybe 3 to 4 days, or I think the longest I've ever gone is a week, you can go down just as fast. Because all you have to say is, this is what I want. And what the studying does, of course, and what this does, of course, is to keep you in the vibration, right? That's all this is.
Yeah. You know, this is really great because you're tying into nourishing your mind. And a lot of us, when we think in terms of nourishment, we think of the water, for instance, you just drank, we
Yes.
think of the food, but we completely forget about our minds, which is literally the most important thing.
It
Because
really is, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's your mind that leads you to, wherever it is you're going to go. There's this beautiful line that Robert Collier would say. He says, you go in the direction you face, and the direction you face is based from what you're thinking, how you're thinking, what you consent to, what you believe, which is happening all in the mind. So this is really cool. I would love for you to share the story of your Academy Award, and
Yeah.
what happened. What did what did Bob make you do? That was so
So, okay. So really, when I first met him, I mean, the very first time I met him, I said, yeah, I really want to run a studio and I want to win an Academy Award. And he just without even hesitation, he goes, okay, I can show you how to do that. And for a second, I think I even asked him, I said, wait, so are you in the entertainment industry? Do you know how it works? He goes, no, never have been. I like movies, but never happened. That's what he said.
So what were the explicatives that were going on inside of your mind when he was saying that?
Mine is that again, paradigms, right? So my dad was very anti anything that was self-help he looked at it as like what do you call it? Like snake oil salesman.
Uh-huh.
And so it was bullshit, that it would never work. Why are you wasting money? Why are you doing this? Very similar to Sandy Gallagher's story, where her dad said, do not, throw away your entire legal career over this. I mean, this guy is like, I think he called him a charlatan or something, right?
Yeah, that's
But
right. Yeah, that's
the
right.
truth is
They
that
they did an intervention with her, the family.
that's it. That's right. That was great. So I did have a lot of fear, I got to tell you, because I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy's so expensive. But I felt
Let's pull that up real quick, because you said he was really expensive. You flew to
I flew to
Las
Vegas to go meet
right?
with him. Yeah,
And you didn't have
there.
yeah, go over that. This is so great.
So I was working for a guy who was kind of in this space in terms of I believe he represented authors, and one of the authors that he was trying to represent was Bob Proctor. And so I had picked up Bob's book, You Were Born Rich, in the airport of all places. And so I had just read it, talk about the universe. I just read it, and the guy that I was working for goes, well, I gotta go. I gotta go to dinner with this author. And being in the film business, I said, oh yeah, really? Who? I'm thinking like Joan Didion or something like that.
Mhm.
And he goes, Bob Proctor. And I go, wait a minute, the guy that wrote this book, Bob Proctor? Because the book is like, it was really, I mean, it just touched me so much. And so he said, yeah, Bob Proctor. Why? What do you know about Bob Proctor? And I go, I just read his book. I really like this guy. Can I meet him? And he goes, here, let me get him on the phone. And he got him on the phone like in a second. And Bob goes, well, look, I just finished something. I'll be in Las Vegas if you want to come. Now, being in LA, it's like, what, 45 minutes away. I was literally there like 3 hours later. And we were having dinner. And so it was just really fast. I mean, I just made the decision. I didn't even think about it. I just went to the airport and got a plane and just went there. And the guy was just, Bob had such a fantastic, and has such a fantastic energy about him, right? I mean, he can convince you of anything.
Yeah.
And I think because he knows what you want, and so therefore he taps into it, and he's able to say, okay, well, you got to do this and you got to do this. His biggest thing for me, and the one thing, Troy, that I've learned, is that you have to know what you want, because if you don't know what you want, you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, a ship, right? I mean, a ship has to know what its destination is, or it will never get there. The same for a plane. Well, the same for a human. I mean, you have to know. And that was the one thing that he was able to do, especially with me, is to keep me on track at all times. And so it took me 14 years to get the Academy Award, because honestly, I just didn't believe him. I thought, yeah, this guy, I mean, he's a super nice guy. I really like him. I spent a lot of money, but, and, he's definitely helped in something, but how is he going to know how to win an Academy Award? It's like, it's really political, and you got to know, the right department, and you have to have the screening, and the screening has to take place on certain days in certain theaters. Well, guess what? None of that matters. None of it. All that really mattered at the end of the day was what you wanted. And so I forgot all that. So years go by. I did not have the Academy Award. And years go by. And I was thinking, okay, I mean, I really do want to get an Academy Award. So this subject matter came to me out of nowhere through one of my partners. And it became the movie that got us the Academy Award. And what I learned was that, once again, it's all about what you want. Because I'd always wanted a Tony on Broadway. And so where it took 14 years to get the Oscar, it only took 14 months to get the Tony. And the only reason it took 14 months is because we had to get the show up and running on Broadway. And then once it was up and running on Broadway, it got nominated for multiple Tonys and we won. And so it's just about knowing which one. I mean, it's that simple. I hate to say that sometimes because people kind of don't believe it, but I think this group does. But again, if there's any doubters or anybody's having issues, feel free to reach out
Yeah.
because it really is all it is. And I'm sure what you're doing, Troy, is you're keeping everybody. Troy, and who's your partner? We haven't met, have we, Dolly? Hi, Dolly. So hi. So it's keeping people on track and knowing what they want. It really is that simple. There's just nothing else to it.
Yeah.
And
This is really great because you're bringing up a principle here. And you told me something yesterday, and I want to bring this into the call because it has to do with when you met with Bob. And then he's told you, okay, I can help you. And then he told you how much. And you said you didn't have the money.
No.
Yeah, go over that story. Because this ties into what you just said. You got to know what you want. Yeah.
There was a lot of money at the time, especially for me. I mean, I had no money at the time. I think it was 100K, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
expensive.
that's what you said yesterday.
Yeah, it was $100,000. I thought, where the hell am I going to get
You can say fuck
$100,000?
here. It's okay.
Oh, okay, good. Where the fuck am I going to get $100,000? Because I did not have $100,000, especially in cash laying around. I mean, I'm thinking, what does this guy think? Is like, he must think everybody in the film industry, we all know this, everybody in the film industry does not necessarily live like Brad Pitt and Angelique Jolie, although they're not living like Brad Pitt and Angelique Jolie, but that's another story. But so I just ended up doing it. I think I gave him a combination of cash and a bunch of credit cards and maybe a check or something. And he took it. I was really worried the check was going to bounce and then the guy was going to be really mad. But
oh, you didn't tell me about that.
I mean, I did it with a bunch of things. I think he let me pay in installments too. I think I paid like 25 up front, which I did have, and then 25, which I did not have, and then the 50. But it turns out that by the time I got to the 50, I don't think I told you this either. I'd already made that money in real estate where I was doing real estate on the side as an investor, and I just flipped a couple of properties because it took no time whatsoever, and then that paid him. I forgot that, but that's how I did it.
Yeah.
And a part of me, paradigm again, because paradigms come in every second, right? The paradigm in me was that, well, wait a minute now. The greedy paradigm came in and said, do I really want to give him 50,000?
That's so funny.
It's all paradigms. It's all what we learn in childhood. It really is that. I mean, it's that simple. If people like just knew that, I mean, we'd have probably no wars, no issues, no nothing.
That's right.
I think that Trump and Harris would be best friends, BFFs. They would be happy.
I love what you're sharing here. So this poses a really great question because that one moment when you made that decision dramatically altered the trajectory of your life.
Changed my entire life. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
right.
my thing, as you're thinking about this, as we're going through this, as I'm thinking about you, and I love who you are right now and the example that you've been for me, just there's a piece that I think about like, well, what if I wouldn't have done that? And like, for instance, when I dove into becoming this, what I do now and stuff like that, I start to think about, oh my gosh, it would have sucked. I mean, it was like, I can't imagine something different. How do you feel with regards to you as you've dive into this for you?
So now, as I'm sitting here, at the two different studios, and
He's working at third one.
Right, and so it was, of course, it was so easy. I mean, it's like anybody can do this, and I really do believe anybody can do whatever it is that they want to do that's humanly possible. I don't think about it a lot, Troy, because I'm always thinking about what do I want? Am I staying on track? Am I getting what I want? So I don't really do a lot of backtracking. But
well, I'm thinking of it from this way in terms of the gratitude that you have because you made the move. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, the gratitude, of course, is overwhelming, right? I mean, in the first thing, I'm sure you guys all do gratitude every morning, right? I mean, do you guys do it or at nighttime? Is anybody not doing gratitude? You don't have a lot of people with their cameras on, Dolly and Troy.
Oh, let's shift that on. I will you turn your cameras on.
Turn your cameras on.
Okay, John. There we go.
We want to see you.
We want to see you. Show your beautiful face.
Is everybody practicing gratitude every day? Is there anybody who's not practicing it? Questions? Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Okay, so one of the things that gets you and keeps you in the vibration of exactly what you want is gratitude. And the Sandy Gallagher, actually, this is her lesson that I absolutely love, which is the gratitude lesson, where she goes through the whole thing and says what you have to do. And even after all the studying I've done with Bob and all the work I've done with Bob, when I first heard that, I thought, oh, come on, yeah, this is stupid. It's like, a couple of gratitude, yeah, of course, but like doing this, it's like crazy. And so, but the first time that I did it with her, I think Troy was at that 2019 one, right? Or 18 one, everything changed again
Yeah.
and been better.
Yeah, she
You
shared that story where she was working with this guy that was struggling, and
Yes, exactly.
yeah, and then she said, just write down what you're grateful for. And the guy goes, what the hell are you talking about? I need solutions.
Exactly. That was me. And if you just believe in this, towards the end when I was talking to Bob, he was saying that I'm really glad that you are doing this because it also reinforced his faith that this stuff really works. Because even Bob had like moments of, now his moments of doubt were probably less than a second because I'm sure that he changed it right away. But everybody does. So if you're worried because you don't want to raise your hand or you don't want to talk or you don't want to say, I've got so many doubts because you don't know what my life is like. I think, Troy, you were talking about that yesterday about somebody who said, yeah, but you don't know what my life was like,
Yeah,
or
it's like,
yeah, it was. You were telling
yeah,
me about
yeah,
the
yeah,
story. That was awesome. I mean, basically, it really is. It's that simple. You
yeah,
can have the greatest health in the world. You can be the
yeah.
greatest athlete in the world. You can be the best businessman. You can win, 20 Academy Awards if that's what you want. And believe me, I think that's what Meryl Streep wants. That's why she's won so many and had so many nominations. But it's all about that. It's just mindset and belief and,
Yeah.
just staying in that vibration. I know it sounds really simple, but it is really simple.
Yeah. There's something that I started off with in this call at the beginning, which is tied to everything that we're sharing. And it's you're either a slave to your imaginings or a master of your imagination.
Wow, that's really great.
And it's
I never
those
heard.
who are in control of the images that they hold that are the ones that make this dramatic shift in your life. I mean, think about you. We were talking about this with you over there at Paramount, and one of the questions I asked you was, "How long has this been in your mind? How long have you been thinking
Yeah.
about this, right?" And isn't it interesting how it's all rooted in what you're imagining to be true? This is
It
a
always
great
is.
story. This is a great story. Tell the story about that when you were at Universal and who you're speaking with, and oh my God.
So I snuck onto the lot. Probably a lot of you know the Steven Spielberg story where he snuck on the lot and like the rest is history. He became a director at the lot, quit college, and basically is probably the number one filmmaker in the entire world ever. But so what I did is I snuck on the lot when I was about 16, 17, and I wanted to meet Alfred Hitchcock. So Alfred Hitchcock was probably the premier director at that point. He had just done every single movie that he had touched was just a masterpiece. Anyway, I snuck into his bungalow at the time, and I asked his secretary, "Hey, I got a birthday card for Mr. Hitchcock. Can I just show it to him really quick and just have a conversation?" She was really nice, and she like walked back, and the guy lets me in. I mean, it was a 30-second conversation, but he was a really nice guy. He looked really weird, but it was, especially to
I'm
a
hoping you can do
16-year-old
an
kid.
imitation of his voice too, by
Oh
the
my God. But a 16-year-old kid, it was like so intimidating. It's like, oh, hello.
way.
Not a man of many words for a kid, but I gave it to him. He sent me a birthday card back afterward, or a thank you card back afterwards. But the point of the story is that he had this bungalow that if you've ever been on the Universal Studios tour and gone on the tram, anybody? But if you do, you go past Alfred Hitchcock's bungalow. So I said to myself back then, now I had no idea what I was saying, but someday I'm going to have this bungalow and I'm going to be here. Well, I made it 2 doors down from him, and my bungalow is 2 doors down from Alfred Hitchcock's.
Mhm.
And so it just shows you about manifestation. Had I known how to do it, I would have probably been in his bungalow probably by the time I was 20 or
Mm.
21. I just didn't.
This reminds me of something fun. I think I told you this story because I remember going on those tours.
Yeah, yeah, you've been
Yeah,
on it.
I've been on the tours, and then as driving by the bungalows, as when I was younger, I said, "I'm going to be on that side one day."
And now you are.
The next thing I cried like a little baby when I pulled up into your lot.
You can't. Oh God.
You remember you said that? What you crying for? What's wrong
I
with
do
you?
remember that. Yeah, I never cried, however, when
Yeah. Oh my God, this is amazing.
that was really funny.
This is
And then
this
with
is
Paramount, I loved Paramount. I
yeah.
loved what they had done. I signed my deal. I was telling this to Troy and your friend yesterday. I signed my deal on the day that they announced that Paramount was being sold. That was fun. But it turns out it's being sold for the better, right? Because everything
Yeah.
is going to be better, especially if that's the way that you are imagining it and feeling it and seeing it. And it did. I
Yeah.
mean, basically, the guy that bought it is a absolute film aficionado and wants to keep the studio as is. It's great.
You know, you and I were talking about this, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, how most people, when they go through change, as a matter of fact, you were talking to the producer of The Offer, right? But when
Yeah.
there's big
Oh, yeah.
change,
Well,
when
we
there's
don't
big
want to talk
change,
about
yeah,
that.
most
I
people
remember that.
don't understand that that change is great because that means there's huge
Opportunity.
opportunity.
Yeah.
No, can you dive into that with you and how you
So,
use that?
so remember that all the outside circumstances make no difference to your life whatsoever, right? I mean, it's really about what you want, and it really, you must believe this because this is the only way that it really works. And I'll prove it to you because what it was is that there's some major people in Hollywood who think that Hollywood is frozen until 2025 to make deals, which could not be further from the truth. And the way that I always explain it to people is, do you really think that a studio, let's just say MGM is going to say, I'm sorry, we're not going to have any movies now until 2026. So come back then and we'll have lots of stuff or on MGM Plus. No, of course not. You have to constantly have great content, right? And so somebody's got to be buying that and somebody's got to be making that. Well, there's a belief, and I've been through this kind of cycle that we're going through now. This is probably the fourth time where there's tremendous expansion and there's a million movies being made and television series. And there's all these new guys who are coming in with lots of money. Then it always goes the opposite pendulum and everybody gets scared. The stuff doesn't work and boom, everybody shuts down. There, you read in the trades lots of layoffs and and it's so bad, and the budgets have been cut, and there's no, everything's frozen. There's a spending freeze, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Here's why I always think it's bullshit because having seen this now four times, did you guys know that the headlines in either online or in Deadline Hollywood or wherever you're reading are all recycled? Do you know that they had the exact same headline in 2008? They just did it last month with Paramount, and all they did was change the name of Warner Brothers in 2008 to Paramount in 2024. That's it. And then if you look at the one that was before 2008, they changed, I swear to God, this is true. They changed the name from Columbia and Sony to Warner Brothers. Same article,
It's the same freaking paradigm too. That's
written by
same
the
stuff.
same author from 2018 and 24. That's what's really interesting too. So
Okay.
these guys, and again, I tell the story sometimes that I took this seminar with Mary Morrissey where she puts up all these headlines. And they're all about like today. It's like global warming and overpopulation and yada yada yada. It's from
Mm,
1951.
mm,
Same exact headlines.
mm.
So that's when I thought, oh shit, I'm not watching the news ever
Yeah,
again.
it's crazy because again, that's that conditioning that comes about and
Exactly,
hits you.
exactly.
And
Somebody's like, wait,
yeah, people don't think, then
Shannon
they're just going with whatever the group think. This reminds me of James Allen when he talks about how the main reason why it's so difficult for us to change is not because of human nature, it's because of how prevalent ignorance is around us, and that's what he was.
God, you are so right.
It's
Troy.
just it's there, and it just keeps being fed and fed and fed, and because we don't question it, our minds are closed. The belief never changes, and you just actually said that, because they believe it, and we were talking about that. He said he believes it. You even said something like this. You
He
said
believed it.
because he believes it, he's not doing anything.
And it becomes true, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's what he thinks. He thinks
yeah,
nothing is going to get done. This is a very sophisticated guy, too. I
yeah.
mean, he's for longer than me. And, but he buys into the mentality and he buys into the headline and he buys into who's ever talking to him next about how bad the world is. But those people are not studying the same stuff that you're studying. They're not here. They're not at all. It's always amazing to me I don't think it is to you, Troy, but it is to me where that there are so many people who are so unaware of this
Oh,
study.
it's crazy. Isn't it
So many.
interesting how when we talk, and they just start speaking, and you're just like, oh my God, you can see what their conditioning is.
Yeah, and so you have
Yeah,
to make sure that your conscious mind is open, right? So that you're not
yeah,
letting it go into your subconscious. By the way, this happens to me all the time. It's like, I'm thinking that somebody who really knows what they're doing uh is okay to just keep the subconscious mind open. And if you're like doing something else or you're distracted or you're compartmentalizing, no, you always have to do it because you have no idea. There are so few people that do this study, and it's just
yeah,
it amazes me.
yeah.
And it's so prevalent now. I mean, there's The Secret, there's all this other stuff. Granted, it's a little shallow, but still, you have all this stuff that's out there. You would think that people would say, okay, well, maybe there's something to this.
Hmm.
Politics,
Yeah,
same old thing. My dad was telling me that this is the same thing that was going on between Richard Nixon and somebody, I forgot who it was.
yeah.
Obviously not Kamala Harris, but somebody like that. But it was something like that, and it was the exact same thing. I mean,
Wow,
it's just a different time, same headline.
amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to be opening it up for questions in just a few moments here. So if you have
Yeah,
them,
absolutely.
get them prepared as well, because it's going to be really, really awesome to ask that. So you made actually some really funny comments that are related to thinking and stuff like that. Because again,
Yeah.
most people don't think, and you've been doing some wonderful things with helping people, for instance, who want to get into
Ah, yes.
into Hollywood and be successful in Hollywood, of which, by the way, requires a mindset of Hollywood in order for you to do it, right?
You're
That's
right.
a big thing, right? So let's talk a little bit about that and how you're helping people
Yeah,
as well.
sure. So Peggy, who you guys probably know, the Peggy McCall, she came up with this idea where she and I would do like an intense 5 day a 5 day seminar. And the seminar is for people who either have a book or have written a book or want their book turned into a movie or just are curious about the entertainment industry or want to make a movie or a TV series or a streaming event or a web series or whatever the hell it is today, because it changes almost on a weekly basis, that we do this. So we're figuring it out now, but this will only be our second time doing it. And we can only have a maximum of 7 people because when you're doing this kind of a training, it's very exhausting. I mean, I gotta tell you. So I've noticed that if I have more than 10 people in the room, not as much gets done. But when you have a very, very, very small group, you can really intensely focus on those people and you can make sure that they are getting exactly what they want. That's the most important thing, is they get what you want. Now, had I had this thing when I was 18 years old, I would have like basically like made my dad pay for it. I don't care what the hell I would have
That's so funny.
killed everything. But nobody's ever offered something like this. I had it to a certain extent at USC Film School, but not like this. So what we do is we take you through the process. You decide what you want to do, because it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to be in the entertainment industry or a book author, although a lot of people do. I mean, I can't tell you how many people come up to me who are not in the industry who will say something like, I could have made a better movie like that. Well, they're probably right, by the way, in some of the cases, because some of these movies
You know,
suck.
I want to say something about this. You said something really funny that's tied to this, and then obviously continue that. You were talking about how there's no one that ever goes in to make a movie that says the movie's going to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
no one goes into a
But
movie to
most
make
of
a
them suck.
failed movie. No.
Anyways, go ahead.
I was
Continue.
telling Chad, oh my God, I keep calling Chad because of Troy. Okay, I got to introduce you to Chad so that you know who he is.
Okay,
You guys are like long lost brothers. You guys look alike too. Anyway, so one of the things is that nobody goes into making a bad movie. Nobody. I mean, that would
yeah.
be the stupidest thing ever, right? Because these investments are somewhere. I mean, the lowest investment you can get away with these days maybe is 1 million, probably closer to 2 or 3, but
Mhm.
as high as what, 500 million, $1 billion to make a one movie. So um, there's there's this sort of it's statistics, and it does come out where one movie basically is going to just do fantastic. So out of 10 movies, one movie is going to be like a runaway gigantic hit. It's going to cover all your corporate mistakes for the last year. One movie is going to break even. 8 movies are going to fail. And so that one movie that is just doing everything is basically paying for all the other 9 projects. Now, studios are going to bet the averages, right? So they're going to do like, right now, they're not doing very many movies. They're probably doing 11 movies a year for most of the majors. They're going to start upping that, I believe, within the next 3 months to 6 months. So you'll see again, maybe between 25 and 40 movies a year being released. Once we get to that, that's now if you get like, let's just say 30 movies now, you've maybe hopefully 3 are going to like be monster gigantic hits. I was telling Troy yesterday that Oppenheimer was this movie that nobody thought was going to be this huge hit. They thought it was going to be a good movie
Oh
because
my
it's
God,
supposed
I
to,
love that movie. It's so good.
well, it turned out to be a well over $1 billion grossing theatrical only, by the way,
Yeah.
and we're still in pandemic theatrical times. So,
That's an
it
interesting point. That's right, because this stuff was being made during that time and now it's just being
absolutely,
released.
yeah.
Right.
And
That's right.
so it came and it did spectacular. Now, I don't know if anybody saw Fall Guy here, the other Universal. It's
Is that the
Universal.
one where Lee Majors was that
That's
had a
the
series?
one.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. So Universal does it with, I mean, the biggest star on the planet right now, right? Ryan Gosling,
Yeah.
and a couple other names, and it's a gigantic failure. Not on purpose. It didn't work. Nobody went to go see it. You can
Mm.
go watch it on Peacock now. And sooner or later, I'll bet you within the next 12 months, it'll be on broadcast television. So, oh well. Welcome to
So let's
Hollywood.
let's go back to how you're helping people though
So
to
right.
get into
So
that, right?
so
Get
it's
into
for
this.
people who want to do it. I mean, basically it's October 11th through 14th. It's for the whole week. We do at least 2 days at Universal. I'm probably going to do 2 days at Paramount for the first time because I want people to see how different studios work as well, and how there's different changes that are going on. And then the fifth day is kind of like a team building day at the Universal theme park,
Mhm.
which will or will not. But I always liked it. You like the theme park, right?
Yeah, I
Troy?
do. I like the theme park.
Yeah,
It's fun. I like the
it's really
mechanics, but
fun
I got to tell you, I love Paramount better. I'm on the
because
backside.
it's more of a film and television studio,
Oh
and that's
yeah,
what they do. Yeah.
being there, it was so different. It was so different.
But when you want to get into Hollywood, you got to know how it all works, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
right.
so some of these, it's all about like you've got to make a theme right. So your
Yeah,
movie has to be a theme right, because remember, it's show business, so it is a
yeah,
business.
yeah.
And so, but then there are some where you can just make these really, really, really sweet movies. I mean, like what am I thinking? Oh my gosh, there's a movie that's coming out with Jennifer Lawrence. I want to say she's playing a World War II mom, and she's trying to save her son.
Mhm.
That movie is like, when you look at it on paper, okay, you have Jennifer Lawrence, but you also have a subject matter that's not necessarily a hugely commercial subject matter these days. It used to be, but everything changes, right? Everything's cyclical. And so it's sort of teaching everybody about the business in a one concentrated week. And then there's obviously follow-ups with myself and with Peggy.
Yeah.
And it's October 11th through 14th. And anybody who's interested, I would love for you guys to come.
Yeah. So for those of you who are interested, just reach out to Dahlia and I, and then we'll take care of getting you the details with regards to that. I can tell you this, it's incredible to be around Phil's energy when he's locked in, and also Peggy too as well. So by all means, reach out to Dahlia and I if you'd love to tap into that. And
We've only done it once before, guys, and there's 2 people that are coming back who were there the first time. They're coming back to the second time, which
yeah,
is kind of cool. I remember I only had a limited number of seats,
yeah.
but only because I really want to give people that individual attention and then get to know them afterwards, because there's a lot of follow-up in the probably hopefully the next 10 to 20 years to
Yeah.
come.
So, with this being said, go ahead and raise your hands if you do have questions that you want to ask. But before we dive into that, and as the hands are going up, um, I'd like you to dive into just a little bit more about, okay, fine, you can have the strategy for doing things that you need to do. How important is it for you to have the mindset behind the strategy? And how have you found that in your life, especially considering everything that you've done?
It's only the mindset, right? The mindset is the most
Yeah.
important. I mean, if you don't have the mindset, you might as well forget everything else, because it's never going to happen. You have to keep that mindset, going. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
I really feel that way because I think that especially when you're this advanced and the people who you're with, Troy, are so advanced that they know you have to keep the mindset. It's hard to keep the mindset, right? But
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
what Bob always says. It's simple, it's just not easy. And
Yeah.
it's just not easy because we were since childhood trained to make sure that it's not easy, aren't we? Because come on, in school they could have told you all this, right?
Yeah.
You would have been. I started my kid. Well, Troy's got the perfect example with his young son and what he's doing with him. But I started with my kids on this, and they're finally getting it now. They're 15 and 19, 16 and 19, and now they're starting to see it. And they can have whatever and be whoever they want to be, have whatever they want, be whoever they want, as long as it's humanly possible, right? And
Yeah.
as long as it's for, I always say this, as long as it's for the good of humanity, as opposed to,
Mhm.
somebody who's selling, look, you can get rich doing the stuff that's not so good as much as you can doing the stuff that is. But there's a group of guys right now who are actually financing films, and they got their money. They're very vocal about it. It's very public, but they got their money by selling drugs.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to touch the project just because it's going to happen. You know,
Yeah.
there's always gonna be. It's like Napoleon Hill always said, right? That what's the price you're willing to pay?
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a price.
Mhm.
So Troy's got his price. I mean, he knows what he has to pay for getting into the film business. Mine is that I do spend a lot of time on set. I do spend a lot of time making movies, but it's also something that I love. And when you see Troy on the set, I do remember when he was crying. When you see Troy at the studio, you can see how happy he is. I mean, this is his place. This is his happy place.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
he's like Peter Pan. What?
That's so funny. Before we go to the question, I got one more thing. Uh, this was really cool because this is the seed that was planted into you, and I think it had to do with for conversation that you had with Alfred Hitchcock, and it had to do with money and producing, right? Didn't he say something to you the effect if I don't remember exactly what it was. You got to go where the money is, and the money's in producing, or something like that, and you decided
Well, it
what was
wasn't him. It was actually
who
it
was
was
it?
actually somebody else whose name we don't want to name drop, but yeah,
Okay.
uh, that I really thought that I wanted to be an actor just because I didn't know anything else. I
Uh-huh.
mean, you watch a movie when you're a kid, and who do you see? You see the actors. See the actors
Yeah.
acting, and I think I was watching E.T. or something, and I loved it. And one of the kids that I went to school with was actually in E.T. and actually was E.T. one of the people. Um, and so she was telling me, and he said this later after I started working with him, Spielberg, was that he said, look, there's a couple of different ways you can go, right? So where the money is really in distribution and producing. It's both. But the money can be anywhere. And I never encourage people to follow the money because we all know how that turns out, right?
Mhm.
So it's better to say, look, there's actors who Troy, some of these actors. I mean, how much they're making per film? It's
Mhm.
like crazy numbers. I
Yeah.
mean, the one that you were talking about yesterday with the two guys. I mean, they
Yeah.
they each got
Ryan
like
Reynolds.
20
Yeah.
plus GP. I mean, so they're doing really well.
Yeah.
But then there are other producers, who do great, and then there's other directors who do great. So it's whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what Troy wants. It's not what really I want. It's not what anybody wants other than you. It's not what Dolly wants. It's like whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
So anyway, having said that, hopefully I'm not babbling and
Oh no, this is great.
we
This
got a
has been so.
question.
How many of you have been loving this? This is awesome, isn't it? Oh my
Oh,
God.
good.
All right, so let's go with Uta. Okay, Uta, uh, go for it.
Am I unmuted?
Oh, we can hear you beautifully.
Oh, hi.
Oh, awesome. Hi, Phil. I'm
Hey.
Uta.
Hey.
We're
I'm
good.
interested in your sentence. You said it is as simple. Um,
Yeah,
can you
simple.
can you share with us something like a breakthrough you had with this sentence?
Yeah, in that what it was is that Bob Proctor always said it's simple, it's just not easy. And that was sort of the breakthrough that okay, you have to keep studying this. You know that your paradigms are always going to get in the way because they're never going to go away because they're part of your DNA, but you can quiet them and you can overcome them in terms of doing what you want to do and create a new paradigm, right? A new positive paradigm. So if your paradigm is that, so my dad's was something, and he was a very successful doctor, was that I'm so afraid I'm going to lose all my money and be poor. Well, guess what happened? He lost all his money and he became poor because that's what he focused on. So then when I was able to show him what Bob was teaching, he gained it back. And he gained it all back within a year, as opposed to he would have never gained it back. And so the breakthrough was that just realize that, and that you have to. What I was really trying to get at was the fact that I have to study every single day. Otherwise, I go down, just like most people. But it really gets illustrated to me, right? When you don't study, that's it. So I kind of always thought, oh, that's kind of bullshitty. I mean, what do you mean? Huh? And what was meant by that is that the study keeps you in the vibration of what you want, right? It keeps your mindset where it needs to be. That's what that is. So you always want to study. So I look at study as joy. I never look at it as, oh God, now I got to do this. I look forward to waking up in the morning and doing the study because I know I'm going to have the best day ever. In fact, Troy knows yesterday I had one of my best days ever. Like, I mean, I had just like in one day, I got a deal that I was really wanting to get. And so I know it comes from study. And you do too, right? I mean, obviously, you wouldn't be asking the question if you did.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Amazing. Thanks, Uta. All right. So we have Aaron. Let's go ahead and add you to the spotlight here.
Where's Aaron?
There you go, buddy. So great to see you, Aaron.
Good to be here. So
hey,
Phil Goldfine, Bob Proctor's #1 student.
Oh wow, I like that.
That whole story is burned in my mind. I'm so fortunate and glad that you were able to, come be with us today.
Sure.
I have a question about one of the stories that Bob would tell that resonated immensely with me. About, you said you wanted to win, what, 2 Oscars? And he said, take a picture of you with the one and double them up together.
Yes, that's a really good. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
That's a great story. I was like, wow, that's so witty. And just wonderful.
I mean, he had me do that. I remember that. And in fact, it's hanging in my office, right?
I mean, I did it.
And so it was where he said, okay, you want to win another Oscar? Here, you know how to do it. But I'll tell you again how to do it. Just follow my lead and just do exactly as I say, and you'll get it. And so I did everything he said. But here's the thing. I'm sure it's okay to say this, but I decided that, I really, really want to go for the Grammy. I really do want that EGOT. And so I've kind of like put everything into the EGOT now and everything into the Grammy. And so the more that I focus on the Grammy, as of yesterday, a bunch of things came together for it. So we're gonna go out, we're gonna do the spoken word for Grammy for 24. And so it'll come out first quarter, which qualifies for the Grammy.
Well,
with a big leading lady. What?
I didn't know about this. I want to hear about this.
I guess I didn't tell you yesterday. So yeah, so basically, I found a book that I really liked, and I gave it to a woman her agent, who is a really well-known person. I haven't closed the deal yet. That's the only reason I'm not saying it. But she's a big former politician. I'm sure you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she agreed to do it. She's like anybody else. You can pretty much get access to anybody you want. It's very true that you're always only 6 degrees from separation, but you're really only 1 degree. Basically, I mean, if somebody, I'm just going to pull out something like, let's say that Troy wants to get a hold of Morgan Freeman. Well, he's 2 people away from him, right? So he'd call me and I would call his agent, and then his agent would call Morgan. And before you know it, Troy and Morgan are having a conversation. So, okay, so what's that? 3. But
Henry Cavill, that's what we're going to do.
The what?
Henry Cavill.
There you go. Okay, Henry's less than 3. He's only 2. But you know what I'm saying? That there's no limitation. and people just put the limitation in their minds themselves. It is a self-imposed limitation, a self-imposed jail, I always call it, because believe me, if I can do it, you can do it. It's like what Cher said. And I believe this when she was saying, when she won, I think she won the second Oscar, right? Yeah, it was Moonstruck. She won the second Oscar and she goes, believe me, if I can do this, you can do it. And now I'm, believe me, you can do it too. Anyway,
Awesome.
I hope that answers your question. Not
Yes.
really. Not really.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'm
Good.
feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Great.
Thank you for your time.
It's whatever you want, man. It's whatever you want, Aaron. Whatever you want.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
All right, so we have Dana. Here we go, Dana, your turn.
Mr. Goldfine, I don't know
Yes.
exactly how to
Good.
phrase this, but when you said that it took you 14 years to get your
Yeah.
award that you had wanted, but you said really you could have done it in a shorter amount of time, what do you think? Again, I don't know how to, I'm not sure if I'm phrasing this correctly. What do you think then shortened it when you realized I can do this now? I don't have to wait any more time.
Exactly what you just said. Basically, I
Okay.
just realized it was mindset, right? I mean, the mindset was always that it was, again, another paradigm, right? Because everything's paradigm. So having listened to my dad, who was not in the entertainment industry, saying that, oh yeah, no, people win the Academy Awards, nah, that's all like political, and they're buying it, and they've been in Hollywood forever. So you can't, don't even think that way. But that's not true, right? It's really all that what you want. So whatever it is that you want, you can get it. That shortens the time, believe me, because you can never answer how the universe is going to time something. So in other words, it goes back to the acorn, right? So there's certain laws here, and so an Academy Award takes so much time to get. An acorn takes so much time to turn into the oak tree. So what I love about this, though, is that you determine what the time is going to be for the Academy Award. And the reason I say that is because had I known what I know now, I would have just every single day woken up, I would have geared my study towards getting that Academy Award. I would have gone to bed just so that you're falling asleep in that REM state that you basically say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have the Academy Award here. That's how you do it. So this is what I started doing. It sounds kind of bullshitty, but it's not. 2 days ago, so this Thursday is when I decided that I really wanted to get this Grammy thing. I really wanted the Grammy. So yesterday, Friday, basically, is when I was able to get the person that I wanted to narrate it, and I was able to close the rights on the book that I wanted her to narrate. So that took literally 48 hours. Do you see what I mean by the knowledge and by also, but really wanting it? Because just having the knowledge, you still have to act, do inspired action. Yeah. So it's very simple.
There's something
Okay.
there's something that I say to people, Phil, and this is really cool because it's tied into what you just said. And that is when someone shares with you how long it took them to get there, they're not sharing with you how long it took them to get there. They're sharing with you how long it took them to figure it out.
There you go. Yeah.
Right?
Get into the right mindset, and into the attraction of attracting it. Yeah. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Does that
So
help?
you think,
Oh,
I think so, Mr. Goldfine. So you think
Mr.
basically,
Goldfine.
if I'm,
I've never heard anybody call you
I
that
like this girl.
Mr. Gold.
so what you're saying, sir, is that basically you had a shift that you decided that you were just gonna win it, you were gonna do it, and
That's it.
that's kind of how it fell into place, sir.
You got it.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Okay.
And the hardest thing for people is the belief, right?
I
Because
believe so.
yeah, it's all you got to do. Just believe it. Really, really, really feel it.
God, that was a great question, Dana. Thank
It
you.
really was.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you saying that. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Absolutely. And also let's thank Mr. Chadwick as well. Okay.
Well, yes, Dolly and Chad. Yeah, Mr. Troy and Miss Dolly too.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And Dolly.
Oh my gosh, this is so
Hello, Dolly.
All right, let's go with Betty. Here we go. Your turn, Betty.
I feel I'm so grateful that you're here, giving us these wonderful gems. Now, you said that you study every day.
Yeah.
Is there a particular routine that you have that you go through?
Yeah. I wake up every single morning at 4:30 and then get my coffee and then study for as little as 15 minutes, as long as 30 minutes, never longer than that, because after 30 minutes, you kind of stop, absorbing things. But that's it. And so it's an absolute routine that I feel that it's like going to the gym, right? If you don't do it, you really feel it. And so it's the same thing with study, because like Troy started off saying, it's about your mind is also a muscle, right? So you must take care of your mind. The study's the only way that I can do it. I mean, I'm sure everybody's got their own way of doing it, but for me, it's like, and I keep studying the same thing over and over and over again, right? So, and that's all the chapters in the power of awareness, because every single the examples in the power of awareness have something that everybody wants right now, either wants is going through whatever it is, and you just study that example over and over. At least that's what I do, and that really helps.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
That is.
Thank you, Betty.
Oh, I lost her.
That's a great question.
That was.
All right. So guess what? Look who's raised their hand here. Are you ready, Caroline?
Carol. Jesus, oh my God, how are you?
I'm great, and you?
I keep meaning to tell you, I'm coming to Brazil in November.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah, so I'll give you the dates. It's so funny. I was gonna call you next week and tell you when the dates were set.
You better call me.
Carolyn's from Brazil, everybody, in case you haven't figured it out. Yeah. I'll let you know.
So great to see you. So great to see you, Troy, Dolly.
Where'd you
so
go?
Phil, even though I have asked you a lot of questions,
yeah,
there's one that I wanted to actually, there's two.
Okay.
One, what are the things that you've done during the time since you start studying that have improved the most your mindset and your belief in the things you wanted to accomplish?
Gratitude. Gratitude. It's gratitude. Gratitude does it, because the more that you're grateful for, the more that you get, right? And so it's gratitude. In fact, since you and I last spoke, probably gratitude has been even more important, because I had a series of what I perceived as setbacks. And as soon as I really got deep into gratitude and really make sure that was a priority that I was doing all day long, as well as, writing it down in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night, everything changed, just like it always does. So that's awesome. The one thing that I would add to yours as well, because you have so much to be grateful for.
I do. I know.
You look amazing right now. You always look amazing, but you look amazing right now too.
That's awesome.
Okay, so yeah, so that was the first question. The second question is, you said you take 30 minutes maximum during the morning for your study. Could you go a little bit, now I know that probably there's a couple minutes for gratitude, but there's other things that you're probably
so
doing.
Gratitude is usually whatever it is, right? I mean, so gratitude can vary. Gratitude can be a minute. Gratitude could also be 30 minutes. But for me, it's generally about 5. And then, but again, Carolyn, I don't want you to get hung up on my.
No, it's just curiosity. I'm not gonna. It's not because I know that.
I will tell you this: it's like I've really been micro focused, and so what I'm really focusing on right now are those examples in that book, because, like I really wanted to be a paramount, and it happened really fast. But there's other things I want as well, and so every single day I'm like in those examples, and I'm reading what he's written, and then I basically just inject myself into it in terms of what I want. And so there's an example there for whatever you want. You want to win an Academy Award, exactly how to, the example that you have to get into in that book, and basically just insert yourself in there and just do that every single day. And so that the vibration matches the actual Academy Award. I mean, you and I talked about this once before, which is Parasite. You saw what happened to him. He won every single Academy Award. He only won one. He overshot.
What's the name of the book again? Because I couldn't.
The Power of Awareness. I'm sure.
Yeah, we read it together.
Yeah, example. Yeah, chapter 23. All the examples. I've been doing that for the last year.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Phil. I was really happy to see you.
I'll see you in Brazil, I hope.
Oh, yeah, you better.
And by the way, just so you know, that movie still is not shot. We're shooting in December, so I'm sure Ben will give you a call. Carolyn's an actress that's working with us. So
Oh, yes.
So good.
Thank you. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Phil. Great to see you both.
you too. I'm going to have to run soon, Troy. But
Okay, so we have just two
anything
more
else?
hands up. Is that
Oh,
okay?
sure.
Okay.
Okay.
We guess two more hands. So we're gonna go with Zan and Tom, and then Aaroneth. Aaroneth, you're gonna be the last question for
Dan and Tom. I love your guys' enthusiasm. I don't know if you guys all saw them, but they were like, laughing and waving their hands all through the presentation.
We're so grateful to meet you and
Mr. Goldfine.
Mr. Goldfine. Thank you so much. Thank you for today.
You make home with that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we'll be brief. I'm a bottom line kind of guy. So I'm going to ask you or tell you a little bit. I do the study in the morning when I get up.
Yeah.
Zan does some study as well, but both of us do the study right before we go to sleep at night. And do you do that? Do you?
I don't do the study right before I go to bed at night. What I do is I focus on what I want. And so what I want the next day to look like and what I really want, it goes back to the major goal, right? To what I really want just as I'm drifting off. I love doing that because magical things happen the next day every time that I do that. If I'm super tired or I forget to do it or one of the kids has his TV on or something's going on, then I notice a difference. And so I really try to make sure that I am, just as I'm drifting off to sleep, I get that. But I haven't done the study during that time. I'm really a morning person. Well,
thank you, Mr. Goldfine.
okay.
Sir.
Thank you,
sir.
You're welcome.
That's so funny.
One more.
All right, so we got Aaroneth. Let's pull you here up on the screen. Go ahead, Aaroneth.
Oh, hello, Mr. Goldfine.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Okay, aside from Bob Proctor, who were the most important mentors or influencers in your career, and what lessons did they teach you that you can share with everyone?
Wow, that's a great question. Really, it is Bob, though, because I had studied Napoleon Hill when I was about 21, had no idea what I was doing. However, one thing that did come out of that was I sort of considered him you know how he talks about the mastermind group, of course, and how his mastermind was all people who had passed. I had always considered him and Earl Nightingale a mentor because those are the only two that I really knew. And so one of the things that really helped me with Napoleon Hill is that he was talking about when this kid had graduated from college, his mom had helped him put together a marketing package about him. Well, I thought, okay, you know what? I'm in college. I'm gonna put together why I want to be working for this certain producer. And so I did that. And although I didn't get the job, I got a job interview where nobody else was getting a job interview. And so I've always considered him a mentor, and I've always considered, but I don't study him as much anymore. And Troy will tell you probably more about him than I ever could because he actually worked for the Institute at one point. But Earl Nightingale, I would just keep listening to the what was it, the greatest secret,
Lead the Field, or
Lead the Field,
The Strangest Secret.
Strangest Secret, anything I possibly could, and also Zig Ziglar. I'd say those three. Those are. I mean, I know they're all motivational, but that's what I was attracted to, and I don't know why, but I really was. And now, upon thinking about it, it was probably all getting me ready for Bob. Even though I was really questioning Bob the first year, I was really questioning that money, but I never told him that until years later. But I did do whatever he said, and I think that no matter what, Bob's still with us, right? I'm sure Troy talks about how everybody's still here, so it's just energy. And so I talk to him pretty much every day, I mean, and he's still the same Bob, and he's still tells me certain colorful words sometimes, right? What to do, especially if I get lazy or if I'm feeling sorry for myself or something else. I mean, I'm human like everybody else. And so I've got my times. I mean, when I even with this last deal that I made with Paramount, I was second guessing it for 2 seconds, But the old me without the study would have been questioning it like for a month before I did something. But the new me is like, no, this is what I've always wanted, and I want this. And I wanted to be in the same building with a particular actor that I wanted to work with. And so everything just came right there. I mean, it was just dropped right in my lap because that's the way it works, right? As long as you know what you want. I hope that helps.
I love it. So you still talk with Bob? It's just like Invisible Alliance.
Yeah, you do what Napoleon Hill said. Well, I'll tell you what Bob told me that, to do. This is before he passed, obviously. And when he had his mastermind group, is that he would basically just call it to order whenever he wanted to. So he could be in his hotel room, he could be, before bed, it could be anytime. It's like I do tend to ask a lot of questions, like, that I think I perceive as somewhat stupid, but but Bob never did. And so I'll say, so we're on the airplane coming back from the Tootsie premiere, and I go, so like, how do you get past it? How are you talking to Earl Nightingale exactly? And he goes, I told you, you do this and this and this. I mean, Bob had a lot of stuff that I think he didn't go into that was really, really, really deep because he wanted to make sure that he reached as many people as possible. And he probably did, right? I mean, he probably reached like, millions and millions and millions of people. I mean, the guy is just, it's like he's changed so many lives, especially, and definitely mine, for sure. Guys, I'm going to have to run, unfortunately, but this was really fun.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. You got to invite me to more, Troy, Dolly.
Well, then I'm going to have Dolly say goodbye real quick. There you go.
Sorry.
Dolly.
Where's Dolly?
I know you need to go. This was so wonderful because I was saying earlier as I was watching you since my beginning journey in 2017.
Oh, wow.
To even just have, this has been magnificent. So great.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow, you're a baby in this.
Yeah, I am. But I moved in speed.
I can see that.
So,
all right, guys.
Okay.
Nice seeing you,
Phil.
everybody. All right,
Amazing.
we'll talk
Thank
soon.
you.
I hope.
We'll talk
Bye,
soon.
guys. Bye.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow, that was so good, wasn't it?
Oh, that was so much fun. It was everything I said it was going to be, like behind the scenes, all the stories that we got, like others will never hear.
Yeah.
Like just breathe all that in. Like that is how you move in speed. Like that is wow.
So good. And again, my reminder for you with regards to Phil, by the way, if you do want to be involved with what he's doing at the studios and stuff like that, maybe you want to get into Hollywood, I don't know, for you, just reach out to Dolly and I, and we will help to make that happen for you. Okay. And it does take courage to do that. Okay. I did that too, by the way. A lot of people don't know this. But I actually went into being coached and mentored by him in a very similar way. And now we're like really good friends, and we're working together with other things as well. And it's actually turned out to be really, really awesome, but I had to be courageous to be able to do that. So by all means, if that's what you're feeling in yourself, then reach out to either Dolly or myself and we'll help you with that. So is there anything you'd like to add, Dolly, before we go on our lunch break?
Yeah, oh gosh. I'm not sure if I do. I think we have a lot to process and digest. When do we come back?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to come back at 1:10, okay? So all of you, 1:10 Pacific. So right now it's 12:08. It'll be 12:10 in just a moment. So the screen will still stay on, and there'll be a timer that's there for you. But return, and from there we're going to dive even to more magnificence, of which is all about you. I don't know if you guys noticed throughout this conversation that we were having, we were really talking about you and the power that you have inside of you. You have access to all of what the universe has to offer, the same way that Phil does, the same way that I do, and the same way that Dolly does. And with that, we want you to make sure that you grab onto it and use it for your life. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So good. I'm going to hold it in for the next session.
All right. Okay, so everybody, what time again? We're going to come back here at 1:10, which is in about an hour. And from that, I will definitely say to you how grateful I am that you all stayed here. We hope that it's been wonderful and powerful for you up to this moment. And we hope that it will continue to be that way as we go through even more of this. All right. So we'll see you soon. and have an amazing, wonderful, wonderful time in your break. All right. All right. Amazing. All right. Let's go here. I gotta switch that here.